watched this movie with my 6-year-old son, and we were both in a puddle. And what was so cool to me was how this movie clearly resonates across generations. I can get something out of it. My 6-year-old son can get something out of it. And you discovered this book through your daughter's school assignment.
The themes of parenting are at the core of this story that Peter Brown wrote, and he did such a beautiful job. One of the things I love about it is it has like Roz, who is a first-time parent, quite by accident and unexpectedly so. And one of the first things she says when she realizes that she has this Gosling that she's going to have to deal with, she says, I don't have the programming," and she literally tries to walk away. She's like, "Nope, I can't do it." And then you got Pinktail, played by Catherine O'Hara, who has possums have 3 litters a year. So she's over the whole, like, the newness is gone, and she's very pragmatic, and she has a very unsentimental angle on it, which is really really funny. So you've got all these different angles on this parenting thing, which makes it really really fun. And again, it makes it very relatable. I think all of us who have who dove into this whole parenting thing will absolutely understand that and relate to it.
What were some of the themes that you really wanted to preserve? Because I imagine it wasn't
Sure.
an easy task taking a children's book and bringing it into this long form, screen adaptation.
One of the main themes is not written into the book. In my very first conversation with Peter Brown, he said something that became very, very important. He told us that as he was writing the book, one of the things that was on his mind as a guiding principle was the idea that kindness could be a survival skill. And I immediately jotted that down, and I memorialized that in the screenplay, and it becomes a big theme in the story. So that was one. And the other one was the idea that sometimes you'll have to go off program to succeed. And that's what Roz does. And that's what big driving factor in this movie. She, as we just mentioned, she says, "I don't have the programming for this." But then she just tries and tries and tries, and she improvises. And as you know, you got to improvise. There's unexpected things, and you're just gonna have to figure it out. And that's what Pinktail tells her. She's like, "You'll be fine. Just figure it out. Relax." So the idea of exceeding your programming, I think, is a really beautiful idea, because I think we are all creatures of habit. I hate change as much as anybody else. But a lot of times when you do make changes, you'll look back on that moment and think, that was good for me. I grew at that moment.
Well, and one thing I really appreciated about this movie is you don't rely on cheap jokes and potty humor to tell this story. Why was it so important to you to create this beautiful story that is also very clean, very safe for audiences?
I guess it's just my thing. I'm not good at gags, actually. Whenever somebody invites me to a gag session to work on another film, I never have much to do. I never come up with anything. I think the kind of humor that I do, I think, just comes out of situations, and you find it along the way. It just comes out of the situations that we create. Yeah, I guess it's just my style, I guess.
Yeah, well, I loved it. And, Ross's journey really is marked by heartbreak, especially when she comes to terms with this Gosling growing up and leaving her, which is something I think every parent can resonate with. How did you bring this emotional arc to life in a way that can resonate with adults and with children?
One of the things I love about this is anybody can relate to it, because either you have a parent, or you are a parent, or you're about to become a parent. One of the things I loved about this story is that Roz devotes herself to this task, and she doesn't know that if she does a really good job, at the end of that road is heartbreak. I liken it to building a snowman. I grew up in Colorado, and if you do a good job on your snowman, it's going to eventually melt, and that's real life. And so there's a moment in the movie, it's actually at the middle of the movie, where Bright Bill is going to have to succeed on a migration. For Roz to succeed, Bright Bill's going to have to leave, and it's a beautiful thing. And it's a hard thing, but it's real life, and it's one of the things I loved about Peter Brown's story.
Do you have children, watching your children grow up as you created this movie? What was that like emotionally?
You get emotional. You get emotional working on it. I begin by just sitting by myself. I put music on always when I write these things. And if I can get to a point where I'm feeling emotional about things that I feel like I found I found the core of something. And the idea is then to enhance that as we go along, every step of the way. And as a director, I'll do my very, very best to describe these things first to the voice actors, then to the animators, and then to every single person in the process. And then ultimately to Chris Bowers, who writes the music. And that's really, I think, the final touch. And Chris Bowers did such an amazing job. One of the things I didn't realize until we got to the scoring session, I didn't know what he titled each of these pieces. And one of my very favorites I saw on the sheets of music, I Could Use a Boost, was the moment from the migration. And it's like, he understood the assignment. That was the moment. Because of course at that moment in the movie, Roz and Bright Bill, there's been a break in the relationship. And at that moment, Bright Bill has learned a lot of stuff that he didn't understand, but there's not enough time to deal with it. He has things he needs to say, but the train is leaving the station and he has to leave the island. And it's one of my favorite parts of the movie because, again, that feels like real life to me.
Absolutely. Why do you think this book is so popular? So many people love it. It's one of my children's favorites. What do you think, accounts for this?
I think it's because Peter Brown didn't shy away from hard things.
Mhm.
There are moments of triumph and joy, and there are moments of heartbreak, and we are all drawn to that. As a kid, I was really drawn to things that sometimes they scared me, sometimes they made me sad. I think it's in our nature, and you don't want to sugarcoat things because life is joy and life is hard stuff as well. So our programming, if you will, is attracted to those things, and I feel like those are the stories that really endure.
Mhm. Absolutely. What do you hope parents and children take away after watching Roz's story on the big screen?
You know, I hope that they understand each other a little bit more. I think it opens your heart. I think it makes you more emotionally available, and I think it might make some things safe to talk about. Maybe, yeah, it really makes you feel. His book did, and that was our main job, is to get those feelings up on screen.
Well, you did a fantastic job. I really love the movie. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Thank you so much.